everyone, I am Jessica and welcome to my channel. This is super exciting. This past year I decided to jump in head first with my passion and love for outdoors and growing flowers. So I have recently started my business, which is Mud+Roots Flower Farm. So this year on our 7 acres here in Douglasville, Georgia, you get the pleasure of coming along with me and starting my flower farm. So you will see all kinds of things because here is real life. We have 4 kiddos running around, we have dogs, we have all the things that are happening in everyone's household these days. So come along with me as I start my seed planting today. Seed planting is definitely going to be the most economical way to start your flower garden. So we have ordered seeds from Johnny's Seeds. Today I'm going to be planting or starting the early sunrise snapdragons as well as the elegance purple lavender. So these 2 seeds needs 8 to 10 weeks indoors before we can harden them and then transplant them into the garden. So we have lots to do. I'll be sharing all the different varieties of flowers that we'll be planting over the next several weeks and kind of the process in which that looks like. So the good, bad, and the ugly. So buckle up and get ready for fun adventures with Jessica. All right, so got our lavender seeds, got our snapdragons. I'm gonna set them to the side. So what do I have here? So very first thing I have is this brick of essentially peat moss. And so we're gonna take this brick per the directions and I'm gonna put it in our bucket. So inside that bucket, there's nothing there. So then I have my 4.5 quarts of warm water. And so as we pour this warm water over my brick, that's spilling all over the floor, by the way. Real life, I told you, it is kind of separating and decomposing that peat moss so that we can mix all of our other ingredients. Big kitchen spoon, nonetheless. This is a kitchen spoon that my papa gifted me to cook cakes and things like that. So again, multi-purpose. This is real life, right? I don't have all the things. This looks like a muddy mess. Let me take this. I gotta get this closer to me. Just a little bit more water, got warm water ready. So as we're mixing up, we need a little bit more. It's been about, I guess about 1.5 minutes. And I still have 2 little parts that haven't completely decomposed or broken up. So a little bit more warm water is gonna help those loosen up so that we can get ready to do the rest. have gotten, make sure I'm not making a mess, we've got all that peat moss broken up. So we went from that one brick into some good, rich, organic peat moss. So I'm just kind of making sure that all of that water is being dried up by that peat moss before we get ready to add in anything else. And fun fact, I mean, this is a first for me, so I've never done anything like this before, so we'll just have to see together if it's going to work or not. I don't know. All right, so next order of business, we did our brick of peat moss. Now we have, let's see here, this is our perlite. So from what I understand of these little things, this is kind of like when you go to the garden center and you buy new potted plants, they have those little white things in there. So this is supposed to help with absorbing that water as they're growing. So we're gonna do 2 quarts of this. This is just the size bag that I bought. Hindsight being 2020, I would have went ahead and bought the larger bag that came in 20 quarts. But we went for 2 because I thought, oh, that'll be good. You know, again, first timer here. So we have our perlite. The next thing we have here is our, how do I say this again? All right, now we have to do 4 quarts of our vermiculite times 2. So, because the biggest measuring cup I have in my kitchen is 4 cups, in order for us to do 8 quarts, or excuse me, 2 quarts, we need 8 cups. So, got that measured out. Add that to the mixture. So now, let's see what we have here. All right, just stirring all of this up together. This looks like a nice playground for some kiddos. I know our 5-year-old boy would love to play with this. Just getting in here and getting really dirty. So what I'm noticing as I'm stirring, that it's very, very loose right now. So from all of my reading and research, what I understand is that once we get everything mixed up, we're going to add water to the mixture so that we can get it good and drenched, but not soaking wet. So we want the potting soil to be able to hold the seed, but not let it float away. So mixing, it's like a big cake. You know, at Thanksgiving, when you're having to make Thanksgiving dinner for all those family members and friends, that's what I feel like this is. A big old cake mixing bowl. All right, so that looks pretty good. Let me get that corner. All right, the last thing that we have to add is our pure warm casting. So from what this takes, it says that you cannot add too much of this, but what it recommends is about 1 cup to 1.5 cups or a couple of handfuls. So when I opened my bag from my Amazon box, I cut it down the center. So that's just where I'm going to start from today and pulling it out. So this stuff is super moist already. So this kind of looks more like what potting mix would look like, I feel like, if I was to buy it from the store. So there is about 1 cup, and I'm going to do about 1.5 cups of that and get that mixed in here. So next year and over this season, I hope that I can convince my husband into creating and building my dream greenhouse. And then that way, when I'm doing these kinds of things, I don't have to use my kitchen area. I can actually have a nice space that it doesn't matter if I drip water on the floor or all over the table. So, lots of big plans here at Mud+Roots this year. Ooh, definitely starting to get a little warm. All right. Get that worm casting mixed really, really well. I think she's good. Let's take a peek at her. So everything's in here. You can kind of tell that the texture is still, I can almost, I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear the water that's already in here. So that's kind of nice. And the way that I understand it is that when we squeeze it, we want to be able to squeeze just a little water out of it. So I think that by adding the water to the brick of peat moss, that might have been enough water, because we're definitely moist there. So that is good. That is good. I think we're in a good place. All right, so next order of business. All right, will you help me get these things? Oh no, your hands are dirty. I mean, your hands are not dirty. Clean this off. So when my next set of flowers comes in, I'll just have to get some more of the perlite. What? Does it sound okay?
No, that's great.
I hope it sounds okay. I mean, I talk all the time, so. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, so what we have here, when I ordered my seeds from Johnny's, they give you a lot of really, really good information to let you know how to start your seedlings. And so for the lavender and for the snapdragons, they suggest starting them, like I said, 8 to 10 weeks before they're hardened and put into the garden outside. And to start those into a 128 flat. So that's what I have here. I have 250 snapdragons and 250 lavender. Now my lavender is going to be a perennial, so this will be something that I get to plant this year and get to kind of reap the benefits year after year after year. So that's really exciting. Something that I'm not used to doing yet are annuals. And so this time, this year, we really are planting a lot of annuals because my goal is to be able to eventually have some sort of you-cut flower farm to where you guys can actually come out to our property, cut flowers, take them home with you, and enjoy them the way that I do all spring and summer long in years past. But I also want to be able to come to some local farmers markets and to just share these wonderful flowers, a little bit of joy, a little bit of color with everybody that I can. Because who doesn't like a little bit of color and joy in their life? So we have our seeds here. They are super duper tiny, which is why we're going to start them in these 120 cells. So what I have here, I ordered these off Amazon. They had good ratings, so we're just going to give them a test try on our own. These do have holes in it, and the pack that I purchased was a pack of 20. So it came with 10 of your drip drains and then 10 of your trays, and so that just not easily sits in together. So as I'm watering them, it can catch the water. If I want to try to put the water underneath the seedlings like this, just makes it really, really easy, not only to grow from inside, but then also to transplant later into the garden. So here we are with this. I'm gonna start with them stacked like this together, mostly because I'm doing this in my kitchen at our breakfast table, and since there's those little holes, I want the tray to be able to catch some of those there. So I just got my quick little cup, and I'm literally just gonna scoop this out because, again, like I said, when I felt it, you can kind of see that I already have enough moisture when I squeeze that I don't need to add any more. Remember, we want it to stay kind of loose, but not so much so that my seeds are gonna float away. So here I'm just kind of scooping, again, first timer here. I really think that with nature and these kinds of things, it's very forgiving. I think that we are able to kind of start with something we know a little bit about and then eventually learn a lot about. So that is kind of nice. Definitely fun for me. This is something I love. I love to do. I love to be outside. I love to be in the garden. I like to get my hands dirty. And I just love to watch the process. The growing process is incredibly fascinating and extremely satisfying. So my day job, I am a 4th grade teacher. So naturally, I love to grow students and just to teach them and to watch them grow over the years and just thrive. They're so happy. They're such a 4th grade is such a fun group of kids. They are still very impressionable. They're full of life and energy. definitely a profession that I think that, you know, you're born into. One of those things that you're born, you're like, I know I'm going to be a teacher. I think that is definitely my number one. And then the love of horticulture, growing flowers, is extremely fascinating. So I teach math, and in starting this small business venture, there's a lot of math that goes into this, right? Like not only into the how do we plant a garden? What are my rows going to be? How is it going to look like? But also like the financial piece of it. I think that growing up, I don't really know that I knew about all the career types. I think that hindsight being 2020, I think I totally could have gone into marketing or business, because I do love numbers. So this is kind of just a neat way to dabble in both, to continue my love of teaching, hopefully teaching you a little bit of something along the way as well. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just, again, newbie here. I'm just trying to make sure that my little cells are kind of lightly pressed so that I can make sure that there's not any extra loose soil in there. Like that one right there is a little bit low as I'm kind of evenly distributing the soil mixture. So this will give me an idea when I go back, just lightly packing some of this in, where I need to add some additional soil too. I mean, why am I out of breath right now? I've literally been walking around this table. I mean, does that tell you that I'm just, what would be the word? Out of shape? Maybe this video is going to be about getting ourselves in shape while we do a little bit of flower farming. All right. So I would encourage you, like this season, this spring, go ahead and do it. If you felt like you have been, it's been put on your heart to start something new, why not start your own, just even a flower garden, right? Just a flower bed, maybe a raised flower bed, something that you can put time and energy into and watch it grow and flourish. All right, almost done here. So since I have 250 of each type of seedling, that means I'm going to do the same process 4 times. I mean, I feel like my shoulders and my arms are definitely getting a workout. So by the time the springtime gets here, I'm probably also gonna have some nice arms, nice shoulders. All right, we'll be right back. Watch as I quickly and fast forward fill the rest of these trays. All right, here we go. So we are here with our 4 128 cell flats. I have, to start the planting of the seedlings, I am just using a 3/8 drive extension from my husband's garage because I don't have the little fancy planting tool. And then we have a toothpick for our placement of the seeds. The Snapdragon seeds are super tiny. So we are going to go ahead and use what we have here around the house. And so as I continue to grow and collect all the things to have a great garden, we'll add those things to our collections. But for now, tools from my husband's garage is what we're going to use. So I'm just going to take this 3/8 drive extension and just place a hole right in the center of each of the pods so that I am able to then go back and drop the seed in that hole. I really think that anything that's about a 3/8 size will probably be fine, like a dowel rod, maybe even like the end of a wooden spoon, whatever you can find. So I don't think that you have to have all the perfect tools to be able to do this. I really think sometimes just using what we have around the house is totally fine. Here we are a family of 6 here. And so a lot of times the things that we do, it would be great if we could just have all the right tools to get started with a job. But if we did that, I may never get started with a job. So here we are using what we have. All right, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. See you back here in a few seconds. All right, So here we are, got all of my holes kind of placed. Now I'm going to start with the Snapdragons. So before I start doing my seeds, because again I have the Snapdragons, I have the JSS Early Sunrise Mix F1 of the Snapdragons, and then these have a 92% germination rate, and the test date was January of this year. So those are ready to go. And then here is again the Elegance Purple Lavender, and these have a 99% germination rate. So that's really exciting. So what I understand of that means that just the rate in which they, or the percentage that they in which the garden center has decided or tested, I should say, the rate in which they'll germinate. So 99% is a pretty high germination rate, obviously out of 100. So that's really exciting. So I'm hoping, and we'll see together, if I plant 250 of these seeds, how many of them by, let's see here, it says 100 to 110 days will we be able to see and to count. So that's kind of a neat numbers thing as well, right? All right, so we're gonna start, if I go ahead and placing, we're gonna start with our Snapdragons. So on our little tags here, I'm gonna go ahead and plan to do 2 flats of Snapdragons and then 2 flats of lavender seeds. And so since this entire flat is going to be Snapdragons and this entire flat is going to be Snapdragons, I'm gonna go ahead and place Snapdragon tags on both of those. I did go ahead and put the date that I am planting them, March 2nd, just so that I'm able to keep up with my planting schedule. So again, Snapdragons and lavender both have to be started by seedlings in a greenhouse or in a warm climate with optimal lighting for 8 to 10 weeks. And so that is what we're shooting for. So what my plan is to get these seedlings planted today. In a couple of weeks, I'll be planting, I've got dahlias, I've got peonies, no peonies this time. I have dahlias, I have zinnias, I have cosmos, I have basil, and then of course I have sunflowers too that I'll be direct sowing. But a lot of those seeds I'll be planting from seeds, and we'll be able to do that together. So if that's something that you're interested in doing and you live where in the same planting zone that we do, the gardening zone that we do, we are in 8A, so that's changed. I remember growing up that we were in 7B, and then I did not realize until I started deciding to plant this garden that it actually changed. So in Douglasville, Georgia, we are zone 8A. And we're predicting that our last frost is going to be the weekend of April 18th. Kind of that old wives' tale too. You're not really supposed to be planting anything until after Good Friday. That's typically when our last frost is. So my date to actually start planting and sowing, direct sowing some of those other seeds is going to be the weekend of April 18th. So lots going on the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to recruit some hired hands from my house to help me plant these seeds, but this is actually the first time that I've ever seen them. So I know that they're tiny. I have watched several videos. Oh man. Oh yeah, they're very, very tiny. So I'm gonna keep this just in case I don't plant them or in case I want to do them again. So these seeds are in this little bitty packet and they are like, can you see that? Teeny tiny. So I thought I was gonna hire some hands to come in here and help me, but they're so tiny that I may have to do this myself. So first thing, my hands are filthy and I feel like the seeds will get lost in my hand. So I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick and then come back to plant those 250 teeny tiny seeds. Be right back. All right, clean hands. So here we go. Teeny tiny seeds. Oh man. I mean, like the teeniest, tiniest seeds. I don't even know that you can see that. So tiny. Yeah. So we are going to take a clean toothpick and I'm actually going to try to take and pick up one seed at a time and drop it into, I think I might need to go get my glasses for this, and drop it into each cell. And I literally have no idea if that went in there or not. So this is going to take me a minute. Hang tight.
shredded Parmesan.
All right, so we have them all planted up. Although the Snapdragon seeds were super duper tiny, I did get 2 sets of 128 planted of those, so those are good to go. My lavender, I guess when I went to open it up, I didn't anticipate the top opening the way that it did, and so some definitely fell out. So I think I got about 150 of the 250 planted, which is still a ton. So that was interesting. That was a little challenging, but I think that patience, persistence, just taking your time, just scooching the seed into the pod and into the hole, just takes a little bit of time. So I think that when it comes to gardening, there is grace in gardening. I think that this is a labor of love and definitely a passion of mine. So I hope that this has helped in some capacity. Maybe you don't want to start with as many seeds as we started with today. Maybe you want to start on a smaller scale, but I encourage you to get out there and try. I did do the soil in the bucket, the Tupperware bucket, the way that I did, because if you mix up your own DIY soil, if you will, you're actually able to keep that. So I'm going to put a top on that. So the next time that I go to start my seedlings, I'm just going to add to the mixture that I already have there, and continue to go from there. So that's something that you can kind of make in bulk and then use when you need to use it. I will link all the materials that I used today. Most of them were purchased on Amazon, with the exception of the seeds. I purchased those from Johnny's. Please like and subscribe this channel. We are Mud+Roots Flower Farm. Find us on the socials. We will have Instagram and Facebook as well. So we look forward to our future adventures. The next time we'll take a walk around just where we're planning to put this garden in. I think that it's definitely something that we're doing as we go. So you are seeing it in all of its glory, and hopefully coming from ground up, so that it's inspirational to you to find that little spot outside in your yard, and to grow something beautiful. Again, I'm Jessica from Mud+Roots Flower Farm, and I am so excited that you joined us today. Take care. Bye-bye.